important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.
Hybridized versus heirloom. Here's a GMO rat study. Two of the same rats in the same brood. One fed heirloom, the other one fed GMO. Okay? Feed your children GMO. Let them have testes the size of marbles when they get older. Okay? This is what happens. And if you're a woman, you get ovaries the size. And what happens if you get ovaries this big? You get this big. Because you can't fight off the creatures in your body. This is a huge problem. So you can see that this is heirloom. This is more hybridized. And I call this GMO. It's a totally weird, big, huge, plump, out of the ordinary. Let's go to the next one there. Rats become addicted to junk just like humans do. Why would you think that? If you eat this junk, whatever lives inside your body has to process this junk or shite. And this shite lives. Okay? This microbe lives in the body once you ignite it. And it's not you that needs the food. It's not you that needs the smoke. It's not you that needs the drink. It's them that are feeding. And when you feed them, they let you get back to your short, pointless life. That's what they say. You can't hear them, but that's what they do. And in 2 hours, I want to get fed again. Go to the next one. Obesity. Okay, remember, this is not a disease. This is a terrain problem. What's dis-ease? Dis-ease. Okay? And you can see, that guy's not eating. Those things inside him are feeding. These kids aren't eating, and this company here is training your children. I'm not banging on anybody. I just know that a lot of the foods are synthetic. Remember, going back to, this is what I call, because otherwise I get in trouble, the Alkaline Lifestyle Challenge just says that you will go back to a naturalistic lifestyle, and if it has chemicals, synthetics, hormones, insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, or plasticizers, don't eat it. I don't care if it's from this company, I don't care if it's from this company, and all you have to do is go into any one of these fast food places and say, why do you put aluminum in your salt? Why do you have these types of packages that we talked about that are well known to leach? I mean, what are you doing? Why are you using GMO such and such and all these different types of chemicals? This isn't a hamburger. It's a chemical burger. It's a bionic burger. Huh? If you haven't seen that film, watch that. One's a good one. Bionic burger. Let's go to the next one there. Remember, that guy, he's not feeding. He is. And inside him is a pure, loving electron being, overshadowed by this reptilian creature manipulating the overall total energy output of this person. And you can see, what do you think body fat is? Do you think possibly it could be a creature? Does it make sense? Do you think cancer can be a parasite? What is it? It's a creature. Okay, let's go to the next one. They're reptilian anaerobes is what they are too. Heavy metals, as you can see, this stuff gets lodged inside your body and it tweaks your energy level. Once you get heavy metals in your system, once you get this, what happens is your immune system starts to get weak. And these things, and one of the most aggressive things that we have, and 50% of the people in this room right now have leaky gut syndrome. How about that? You know what that is? It's a very disabling dis-ease by a little tiny little piece of black mold. It burrows, it lives in the intestinal tract, it lives in the sinuses, it lives in the inner ears. It lives in any place that you got a cave or a tube. It's black mold. You ever had black mold or black algae on your pool? Regular chlorine don't cut it, won't get it off. You got to super shock it. And you try to rub it off and it's like, man, this is like hard, it's like a piece of rock. So what happens is the intestinal tract is 40 feet from the mouth to the anus. After the intestinal, the stomach, this is where the action is. This is where all the critters live. And we're going to get to these in a sec. The first 12 inches of the intestinal tract is on almost everybody, totally coated with black mold. So how would you think, if this is clogging up that tube, how would you think even if you start eating this good food with all these nutrient minerals and all this new non-GMO drinking water and all this stuff, if you can't absorb any of the minerals? Can't. You've got to get rid of the black mold. And remember, part of the black mold is because of sunglasses. Part of the black mold is because, the gentleman said, dehydration. He's right on. This is how it lives. And once you get it, it's not easy to get rid of. So the more you can start to take care of this right now, and it's pretty simple. In 6 months, if you just follow some very simple things, black mold has no choice but to leave you because you've, like if the Wicked Witch of the West, you threw some water on it. It loves dry things. So leaky gut syndrome is your intestinal tract that's got black mold, and the black mold starts eating up the very nice mucoid protective coating. Okay? And each one of the alveoli, or the parts of the intestinal tract that have nutrient capabilities to absorb, are plugged solid. Of course they give you a little bit, just enough to let you live, because parasites are pretty smart. They don't want to kill you. Remember, they're here to go ahead and actually live. They don't want to find another host, especially, you know, if they get rid of you, then what is that? That didn't do them any good. That's not that smart of a bug. So the intestinal tract gets filled full of black mold, and what it does after a while, it perforates in small amounts, and it starts leaking intestinal stuff that gets inside your body. The intestinal tract, the mouth to the anus, is outside the body, even though it's inside your body. That makes sense? It's a tube, and the only way you can get the nutrients is if you have ionic transport foods. They have to break down, and most people don't have enough stomach acid because they're dehydrated. So I always tell people, drink a huge glass of water, 10 minutes, at least 15 minutes before you eat, with about maybe 10 drops of Soleil salt. So you get enough chlorine, it makes hydrochloric acid, and you can actually break down your food. But that's why, of course, you don't want to have very carbon-based foods, because the older you become, the harder it is to digest anything. And if you look back at the Book of the Essenes are pretty smart. If you haven't seen those books, they're pretty good. They tell you in there to become a liquiditarian. Even if you're eating meat, how do you become a liquiditarian? You're only going to swallow your saliva. That's it. Don't leave any chunks for the snakes I'm going to show you in a minute. Huh? Remember, the roundworms only eat what you feed them. And since they live in the body and they control our minds a little bit behind the scenes, they're telling you to eat that really fast. Like Mom says, slow down. What are you eating so fast? Well, they're not eating so fast. What's living inside them is the same thing that's telling that guy to go out and smoke, and the same thing. These are all different separate little microbes that are very smart. Let's go to the next one there. Corrosive versus non-corrosive acids. Battery acid. Sulfuric acid, 2 huge acids that eat up all your minerals in your body. Put a drop of battery acid in your water a day and see what happens to you in about 6 months. Glenn, remember when we went to the Big Island? That big volcano out there. What happened to all those people? The people over there, they're not healthy. They're full of demineralized bodies. They've been breathing and sucking up the volcano, which kicks out a lot of very toxic elements, but not the toxicity so much. What it kicks out is battery acid. The next thing is acetic acid. We talked about that. Acetic acid is in all your Tabascos, Dijons. Read it. It'll say distilled vinegar. Anything that's distilled vinegar is, in my book, poison. It's acetic acid. It'll give you kidney stones, give you brain sand. It'll give you arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis, fibromyalgia. These are all calcium oxalate diseases. Pulls calcium out of your bone and puts it somewhere else. You don't lose it so much in your body, it just makes it cement. That's what Glenn works on. He has a good time over there. Yeah, are you still doing the He uses a pair of cleats when you're advanced. He puts on cleats and he walks all over you. It makes you scream, of course, because if not, you're not getting your money's worth. Now, these are good lemons right here. I mean, these are good acids. Raw apple cider vinegar is malic acid. Malic acid dissolves all the stuff. So let's say you have kidney stones. What would you think that's going to dissolve that? Acetic acid makes you have stones. Wouldn't you think that there's something that would actually break down the calcium oxalates? Malic acid does. Okay? You can use fulvic acid, oleic acid, humic acids. These are the acids that are present in plants. And if you don't have these acids in your foods, and this is one of the reasons being, I learned about Shilajit from Glenn. It's actually taught me quite a few things for someone. Usually I don't only get one or two things out of a few things. Like Sylvia in the back, she's given me how many hours? 1,000 hours of body work. Talk about a woman, you know, and Glenn, different people. You need to get body work. You need to find a companion, either that or get it done and learn how to do it. We call it acid reduction massage. That's what I call it. That's what we call it. And what you're doing is you're squeezing out the acid, and then you're going to neutralize it out of you. And this is how I usually do it with drinking high pH level of water. You don't just drink pH of 10 water for nothing. It's because you're going to squeeze this machine and get a lot of its pus out. I also use an anti-gravity device to be able to do anti-gravity inversion, which is really smart. It's not too smart if you have brain sand, though. You have to check out and make sure you don't get an aneurysm. And the older you get, the more possibility you have of having hardening of the arteries of the brain. Remember, when you're standing, you only have 5 pounds of mercury of pressure in your brain. And that's in my head. In my feet, I have 200 pounds. So all my blood's putting pressure down, right? And if I flip over and do a headstand, that's why most people can't do it, because they feel like their head's going to pop. Why? It's because they've got brain sand. Got brain sand. So this is where you can take certain dissolvents, because water doesn't clean that up. This is cement. It don't come out unless you actually dissolve it out. It can be done. I had it. I couldn't do a headstand for 5 seconds. I can do one now for 20 minutes with my eyes closed. But before, I couldn't do it at all because I didn't have the flexibility in my arteries and veins. Okay, and lemons are beautiful, really, really good. Organic lemons, even though they're acid, they're alkaline. They're acidifying only to the outside, but wash your mouth out, of course, if you use it, because it'll eat your enamel off. And the lemon is really smart because it alkalizes you, because it's loaded full of alkaline minerals. Same as cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is acid, but it alkalizes. It's sort of I before E, if sec after C. There's some sort of couple changes in the system here, so you can't really, just because it's acid, it's not bad. No, there's good acids, there's bad acids. There's good sugars, there's bad sugars. There's good oils, there's bad oils. It all goes the same way. Let's go to the next.